I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Yes or no? Did you ever take banned substances to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
I had no prior knowledge of the planned assault on Nancy Kerrigan.
I am deeply sorry for my irresponsible and selfish behavior I engaged in.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Oops in the Podcast, Midsummer Night's Dream edition.
Midsummer Night's Dream?
Not because of Shakespeare, but because we are in the middle of summer. We're toward the end of it, but depending on where you are, I mean, New York, at least the weather stays pretty summery in September and even into October. So I'm looking forward to the next couple months. Colorado here, joined by Mr. Lynch. His hair's grown in real nice.
Thank you.
He's looking good. You've been looking good in your vids too. You look good, dude.
Thank you.
You look good.
I appreciate you.
I look okay. I need to right now, since I'm healing still, but I'm feeling better. Like I'm functional in general, but I'm just going to focus on my diet since I can't really exercise. And I actually think that will do a lot for my camera readiness, hopefully.
Well, you have good skin.
Thank you, Lynch.
You do have good skin.
Thank you,
so I feel like that's more than half the battle.
It's it's a percentage of the battle. In theory, if you have bad skin, there's nothing you can do about it to some degree. I mean, there are things you can do, but they're extreme sometimes.
Yeah.
Accutane and the like.
I bailed on Accutane, I think 2 months in, before the effects even kicked in.
Did you have side effects or before any effects?
It started to hurt before the visual aspect of it kicked in.
Meaning the sun fucking you up or
So I think you take Accutane, I don't know how many months it lasts. They get you on it, you take the pill. Yeah, 6 months to a year, maybe a little more than that. And then after a few months of it getting into your system, the acne gets worse before it gets better.
Yeah, interesting.
And I bailed on it before that step even happened.
You don't appear to have any acne anymore.
I have a very rigorous skincare routine that I've gotten into.
And if you were not to adhere to it, you'd have acne.
It'd be terrible. I'd look like a piece of pizza. So, and I've been trying to crack the code for years now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have good skin now. Hopefully I got to work for it, but you naturally have great skin.
Thank you, Lynch.
Now it looks great on camera.
I appreciate that, my boy.
Yeah.
We're fighting our good fight out here.
Fighting the good fight.
The Olympics are over. I really enjoyed them. I was actually impressed with how well they were able to kind of keep the Olympics in our consciousness, even though they were kind of hard to watch. It's one of those things where highlights weren't easily available. Not everybody had the rights to them but it was on and I don't know, I was able to watch and follow along. I don't know if you guys felt that way too. I'd like for them to do, and they used to do these in the past, bro, but they used to do these full Olympic recaps basically of pretty much every single event. And they would do a brief backstory about the medal contenders and their lives and what was at stake. And then they would show the competition in a dramatic way. And these things were 4 or 5 hours long. I remember watching them when I was a tennis pro, when we would get rained out for the day in the summers. But this is 2006. And I would just sit in my house all day with this guy, Alec. I forget his last name, Konstantidis or something. He was Greek via some other country somewhere. I think Alex Sharp and Titties is his name.
Alex Sharp and Titties?
Sharp and Titties. I know it sounds funny.
Is it Sharp and Titties?
It's very Greek, so it's not Sharp and Titties. It's literally CHAR. I don't even remember how to spell it. But I think he was Greek or something, or from the Balkans. I know Greece is in the Balkans, but more of a Balkans. And he worked at the tennis club. He was an amazing tennis player. Played for Tulsa. He was ranked number 3 in the world as a junior. Me and him used to get baked and watch the entire, these 5-hour-long documentaries on the HD channel. It's in 2006. If anybody knows anything about these, please hit me up because I've never been able to track them down. And I don't know that they still make them and I want to watch them because I would love to watch one for this Olympics.
What's the HD channel?
I don't think it exists anymore.
What's the acronym for?
High definition.
Okay.
HDTV, not hi, dudes.
Oh, I thought it had been history.
No.
Dictionary.
I get why you would think that, but no, it was howdy doody. No, HD resolution.
2006 HD. Here we are.
And this is when the TVs were still the big fat, they still had those giant you roll it in TVs. Mm-hmm. So anyway, those were sick, and I wish that they had it for this Olympics because it was hard to follow comprehensively. But I think I've without a doubt gotten the highlights when I was able to watch. It was great. And there's obvious things that stick out that I want to talk about, and then more specific things. So is there anything that comes to mind initially when we talk about the Olympics for you?
Victoria was throwing on that Netflix series that just came out, and it's about the American team. It's about other. I think it's about other players around the world too that run, but they were focusing on the main competitors from the States, and so that guy that won for us in the 100,
Justin Lyles.
Yeah, Lyles. I did not know his name. I saw his quote about how like basketball. He said
it's a good quote.
He said that people.
Did he get shit for that?
So wait, real quick, if you haven't seen, he made a quote a couple months ago or 6 months ago about how it's weird that in the NBA when you win the championship, they call themselves world champions.
World champion of what?
Yeah,
that's what he says.
That's what he said because it's national. It's in America.
100%.
And so technically, I looked it up actually. FIBA, that's world champion. The most recent world champion, Germany. Okay, from last year's tournament. But regardless, he said that people hated him. That kind of, runners don't go viral like basketball or like the Big Four in the States. He went viral for that. I forgot about him. I just knew that there was a track star that said something very controversial. Then I watched this Netflix doc with Vic, and then I got his backstory, and then I got the backstory of a couple other athletes. I forget their names, to be honest, but I was able to I remember her. I remember, she's running for her mom and things like that. I didn't get the little pre-race story that you longed for.
Yeah,
too.
I want it.
So I'm lucky that I at least saw that for track and
so
field.
this is almost like a parallel. This is basically what I'm asking for to some degree.
Yeah, it's the new gen.
I gotta watch
the new
it.
HD.
I gotta watch it. Yeah.
So that made me more interested and invested in track and field.
Cool.
I mean, I enjoyed that.
As it always does. Wait, so I'm going to talk more about this. So
yeah,
the Justin Lyles thing's interesting because he makes a good point, but at the same time, I mean, the NBA is just the best league, period. And we know that because all the best players in the world play in the NBA for the most part. Even on these national teams, I mean, yes, the world is becoming increasingly impressive internationally at basketball. You saw basically Jokic alone and Bogdanovic, I guess also, who I think plays in the NBA, if it's the same Bogdanovic. I don't even know if it is.
I think it is the same.
So, that team almost was able to take down the great dream team. You know what I mean? They say they play good fundamental basketball, whatever. Like, I get that the gap is closing in the quality of American basketball players and international basketball players, which makes sense. But the NBA is still so superior to all the other leagues that the world championship thing, while it is still arrogant and not true and technically doesn't make sense, I don't think it's offensive.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's offensive, but I don't think that Lyles is wrong to make that point, even though it's a bit of a moot point. It's worth talking about. That's my take on it.
Yeah. I mean, out of technicality, he's right.
Right.
He had a great moment out of that, but the best players in the world play in the NBA. And there's no gatekeeping. If you're good and you live in Serbia, you live in Afghanistan. I don't know if any Afghanistan guys have ever been in the league. You go to the NBA if you're good. Yeah. There's no prejudice in making it into the league. Totally. Serbia, Slovakia, they're making their ways. People are getting drafted first, second, third.
Everybody wants the next
without
Jokic
even
or
going
Luka.
to college.
Yeah.
You got Wemby from France.
Yeah.
He got drafted first pick. He didn't go to college.
Dude, this year, the first three were all not college guys, right?
Yeah, or G League, but those are G League players that are coming overseas and not going to UNC or Duke or doing the NCAA route. Mm-hmm. So
it's interesting.
I get it, but the best players are in the NBA.
Yeah.
So it means when you're an NBA champion, a synonym can be world champions, but you should say that you're the NBA champion to appease the bitter egos of those
Justin Lyles.
No,
but yeah,
there's many egos.
There's just no need to call it the world champion. We all know that winning the NBA championship is the most impressive, private league championship that you can win. We all know that. So, but it's an interesting discussion. So,
yeah.
I thought that the whole men's track team was a little zesty, dude. They're all there's just a little a little goofy. Justin Lyles included. There's something, even the all gold teeth guy, there's something just a little sus. No, not even, bro. It's just, they're just a little, not even that.
Well, I think about my cross country squad in high school, and it was similar personalities. There is just like you said, there's a hint of lime, little Tostito zest. I get what you're saying, dude.
A hint of lime.
There's a
is
pinch of that.
unbelievable,
There's a
dude.
pinch of that
hint
flaky
of
salt.
lime.
A pinch of flaky salt on these boys.
Yeah.
Pepper on them.
Peppery.
I get what you mean. The runners are a different breed. Got attitude.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of arrogance to it. I mean, the girls on my team my junior year, they all ordered custom shirts that said, "Our sport is your punishment." And like, so like there is like, I think there's a superiority complex. Is that a term?
Superiority complex would, well, it depends for what though. Yeah, that
As
is
in
a
like,
term.
we're the best of the best of the world. And I think they are a different breed. The runners are a different breed. The good ones too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I get what you're saying with that.
Okay, well, dude, the women's boxing thing I thought was fascinating.
We getting into that?
Yeah, I want to. I find it fascinating because I don't know. So there's a couple things that make me, and again, every time I think I have an opinion, someone tells me something else, which like changes my opinion a little bit. And I will say I've gone back and forth a bit because, okay, here's this woman, born a woman, lived as a woman, says she's a woman on her thing, but has not been allowed to compete in the past because of some genetic whatever that says that she's too manly to compete as a woman, right? And that barred her from competing internationally. But the Olympics committee allowed her to compete. So that, that is a compelling couple sentences to me. If all of that is true or whatever. But an important thing to add, which I think really leans me in the other direction, is that they have discredited the body that told her that she couldn't compete at one point for whatever reason. And now, so apparently it's completely fine that she would be competing in general and in the Olympics. But as I initially, my first thought was, she's a woman, why would it be a problem? And then I see all these like respectable people speaking out against it. Like feminists and like reputable public figures speaking out against her competing. And I was like, oh shit, I should like read more about this. But somebody who I know pretty well made a very good point. They're like, okay, LeBron James was born with a genetic advantage. He's still allowed to compete. Now I get that there's no league above the men as far as like athleticism goes, but that is true. If you're just born naturally with some sort of advantage, why should you not be allowed to compete? If she's a woman, shouldn't she just be allowed to compete despite her chromosomes or whatever? She's a fucking woman, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not like an expert, and there's so much bad info out there about this that it's hard to make a good opinion. And I still don't know like specifically how I should stand on it.
Yeah. Well, I like your point. Like she's a woman, so she can compete.
She's a woman. She's right.
That's just how it be. But I will say, not but in the defense, I will say though, there were a couple of days when that story came out with that one boxer dropping out.
Yeah.
That from reliable sources, as I can remember, it was a fact that was a transgender.
Oh, I don't remember that.
That was fact for a couple of days. Let me know in the comments if you guys saw that as well. It was fact. Reliable sources, that's a guy. People are commentating on that was a guy that transitioned.
I never saw that.
And then a few days later, after everyone says all these things and they give their takes, it's like, oh, she's actually a woman. Like this whole time. She's been a woman this whole time. I don't know why there was 2 full days.
And then we got into talking about DNA at that point.
Yeah.
Which unprecedented. And I just don't, maybe I don't have enough context, because if someone were to be like, oh, this genetic testing is a thing, and in other sports, people with whatever she has going on aren't allowed to compete, blah, 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 blah. I don't know, dude. Like, because it was kind of, I don't want to say funny, but like she's punching that Italian girl, and the Italian girl just quits, and she's like, I've never been punched this hard in my life. This is fucking insane. Yeah. This dude is kicking the shit out of me. It's basically like what she said.
Yeah.
And, it seems as if on some genetic level, maybe that is not an improper statement. But to me, there's no need to make things complicated, dude. If you're a woman that just happens to be a little manly, but you're a fucking woman still, why not let you compete? However, now this is interesting and making it more broad. People with her situation a lot of the time end up becoming transgender because internally they are that gender more. So it's like weird for them to be in this woman's body, but they feel like a man, and it makes sense to sort of transition. And I've heard, and there's like books about this, about people who like had that journey and that struggle. This is another thing I saw on Twitter, which may not be true, but it's like, she's a man. She has internal testicles that are inside of her. Dude, I don't know.
I'm not gonna be like, that's true.
Dude, anything that starts to become too complicated like that is typically like, okay. And if it's like an investment, you know it's bad. If it's too complicated, like NFTs, classic example. I know I made a little bit of cash, but you know, if it starts getting too complicated, okay, it's sus. And I think in this situation too, maybe to me, I'd be perfectly happy with, she's a woman. She's always been a fucking woman. What's the problem? She should be able to compete. I'm fine with that. I'm completely fine with that.
Yeah.
You know, in high school basketball, if some 6'9" kid shows up and you're a little kid who's prepubescent is trying to shoot a three and he's getting blocked every time, you don't get to bar that guy. He's a man, technically. He's 15.
Yeah.
He's not a man. Sorry that he has some weird genetic advantage.
Yeah. Little League World Series, every single year, you'll see when it gets to Cooperstown and it starts getting close, and then you see which teams are really the powerhouses. I remember like 10 years ago, somewhere within the last 10 years, some kid from California was like 6 feet tall.
Dude.
Are you kidding me?
Monster.
It's giving bench warmers.
It's giving Danielle Monte.
Is that the name of the pitcher?
No, Danielle Monte was the one who was actually 14.
Oh, really?
They're like, this kid's throwing 80 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And they lied about his birth certificate.
Yeah. Well, every year there's like one kid that's just like, whoa.
Yeah, just a beast.
Whoa.
A
And then
beast
the other
boy.
kids are like, hi.
A big beast boy.
So it just happens.
It happens.
It is what it is.
You know, it's an interesting, I'd be curious to hear if anybody has anything to add to this, because, you know, that is sort of my stance though at this point, is like, if it's a woman, shouldn't a woman just allowed to compete even if she has some random genetic thing going on? She's a fucking woman, dude.
Dude, it's sad. She had to like come out with some quote and it was like, I am a woman.
I'm a woman, bro.
Like, that sucks that she has to like,
yeah, dude.
she just wants to compete. She just wants to beat the shit out of people.
Yeah,
And like now she has
she's
to
doing a
like
good
be her
job.
own. She probably had like, you know, her PR person say like, you gotta like, I know you're a woman, duh, but to us, but to them, like you have to tell them that you're a woman because we need you to say that. And that's just sad. So, and then also what you said with like maybe transitioning, like the internal pressure. Yeah. You feel like you're not that, but then also just like everybody else being like, you're a man.
I know.
You're a man.
It's fucked up.
You're a man.
Dude, I saw some like pretty stupid woke like tweets that were like, the country she's from, you're putting her in danger. It's like, dude, like, okay. Like anything that is being revealed was likely they have already thought of. You know what I mean? It's not like suddenly it's like, oh, you know what? I never thought of that. You better not come home. It's ridiculous.
What country is she from?
Algeria.
This show is brought to you by BetterHelp.
Guys, it's never too late to get started in therapy. And whether you sort of already have a solid therapy setup or if you're looking to get into it for the first time, I really believe that BetterHelp is an evolved way to interact with your therapist and to approach therapy in general. It's super convenient. You can do it in your house from your computer. It's a pretty rigorous but straightforward and simple process to initially pair you with your therapist. They sort of have a questionnaire effectively where they kind of narrow in on specifically what it is you might want to address if there's anything, or if there isn't anything in particular. That's helpful as well. And in a way, by the time you're done answering it all, you sort of even understand better what it is that you want, which helps you when all of a sudden you have the options of which therapists you want to be matched with. The other thing that's cool about it is it's very easy to switch therapists, and there's something way less intimidating about it when you're doing it with the screen as a barrier. I'll be honest. There's something weird about breaking up with your therapist IRL, but doing it on the computer is not as bad for whatever reason, because I've done it. I've switched. Super easy to use, really, really solid way to approach your therapy experience. So I know we recommend it here a lot. If you're thinking about either upping your game with therapy or getting involved for the first time, I think it's something that would be great for anybody at any time. I remember when I first started, there wasn't anything really going on, but I just kind of gave it a shot. And it was something that I was really grateful that I did. Just sort of working on stuff that I didn't even know needed working on, but that really improved my quality of life.
Never skip therapy day with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/oops today to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp, HELP.com/oops. /oops.
All right, what else? What else you got for the Olympics?
For the Olympics, let's
else
see.
stands out?
I watched a lot of the beach volleyball. Not to look at the bum bums, but I was watching the women's American team. I think they had a couple teams in the final 16 bracket. I've just been watching that. My neighbor's super into beach volleyball. I've been volleying and rallying with him.
Literal playing?
Yeah, in Williamsburg, there's a park, Domino Park. There's a beautiful, stunning
Oh, yeah.
volleyball court.
Pre-Olympics also?
Just before, like a month before the Olympics, I started going with him. He took me to the volleyball court one day, and I was like very eager, like just, let's just go. And he's like, Rye, we're not using the net today.
Hilarious. We're going to show you first. We're going to learn.
And we're like passing on the grass or on the turf next to it. But regardless, I've gotten interested in the volleyball aspect. It's just so impressive. Beach volleyball. I don't care about the inside stuff. Beach volleyball was super fun to watch.
Yeah,
and it's just like it's a great sport. And I'm excited to get into it because I'm very lanky and nimble. And like to have the opportunity to dive and get back up and dive again and get back up and then spike the ball on somebody, that's exhilarating. Yeah. And like you could dive a couple times, have an amazing volley, and then lose the point. And it's just very entertaining.
Yeah, I dig it.
I like that a lot. I was watching that.
Well, who ended up getting the gold for men's? Can you look it up? Yeah, I also like indoor volleyball too. Like I get that the beach has a little bit of a sexier, not literally because of the outfits, but just like it's like a sexier thing. But the indoor volleyball is like super athletic and dynamic. Like seeing 7 guys jump up at once and then only one of them hits it like constantly. They're just smashing the ball. It's sick. It
is sick.
Really athletic sport.
Women's Italy got gold. The U.S. I was just about to say states.
This is men?
No, this is women's. I was just about to say states. Trying to be cool. Okay. Italy got gold. USA got silver. Brazil got bronze.
What about men?
Men. France got gold. Poland got silver. Wow. And then in the bronze medal round, the states beat Italy.
Nice. So, dude, the other thing that's weird to me about both beach and indoor is that it seems unbelievably like athletically challenging. Like you have to be jumping and hitting and diving and nimble, like you said, but there's like older people on the teams always. So maybe like that just says that you lose your sort of running and lateral movement before you lose your hops.
Maybe.
Or maybe it doesn't matter. Like maybe your feeling of the court and like your understanding of whatever makes you valuable out there, and you have the young guys soaring through the air and bashing it or whatever. Mm-hmm. I don't know any of the terminology.
You're referring to the one on the court, right? The indoor volleyball?
Also beach though. There's like older people in the beach volleyball.
Yeah, but I would say it's less likely that the older people are doing beach volleyball because it's 2-on-2, and I feel like you need to be very agile and fast. I don't think you can like have one person be like the speedy and fast one as opposed to where it's a bigger team where there's 6 people.
Well, you watched it more than me, so you could literally say like you didn't see that many older-ish people?
No. Not the beach. Indoor.
It would make sense to me. The sand is soft. Like I guess I could, but also, it's a sport and like young people do better in them, so.
Yeah. It was really entertaining. I liked it a lot. I liked the beach volleyball, and oh my God, where they had the court set up, it was right in front
it was cool.
of the tower.
It was cool.
And it was just the most scenic venue for a sport I've ever seen. Any sport, ever.
The French did it well, and it just goes to show you it's kind of nice to have the Olympics in a place that isn't controversial. There's no bullshit. There's no story about like forced labor and weird politics and nonsense. Like, it's just the sports. They do a great job. Like, I'm all for, non-controversial places hosting the Olympics.
I agree.
The Russia and China story always like gets in the way when they host it or fucking wherever.
It was nice that the time zone worked out for us. I will say, you mentioned something about the scheduling.
I mean, it kind of worked out for us, dude.
I mean, we got to watch it in the morning.
Yeah, but it's still like weird. You know what I mean? Like in a perfect world, I think it's better to be able to watch it live in prime time.
Yeah, but that's only going to be when it's, I don't know, it's not as often.
In
and
the Americas.
The last couple Olympics, I just didn't watch them because where were they? One was in
Rio, but Rio's in our time zone. Basically, it's like I think an hour or two behind. Can you look that up? I think Rio is roughly on the same as us. Tokyo though was the one most recently, and yeah, it was impossible.
Yeah, you're right. Rio's an hour ahead.
Tokyo's impossible to watch. It's like, 14 hours ahead or something.
Yeah.
But
I also enjoyed the skateboarding.
mm,
I like that a lot.
yeah. I sort of like the hits, like gymnastics I enjoy, especially the women. Something about the men's that's like odd to me. Like, why are they all so small and high voiced, and it's so weird. Like, does the training like stunt your body or something?
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, that like freaks me out a little bit on the guys' side for some reason. Fun to see Simone be awesome. You know, I was watching a lot of OG gymnastic stuff and just learning about the way that the different moves have progressed and whatever.
Well, she had a series also drop on Netflix a couple weeks before the Olympics. So I was able to get the inside scoop on her.
How was it?
I mean, she already was a household name, but I didn't know anything about her. I knew that she had her mental health breakdown, but I didn't know why.
Stopped doing it last year
and
or
like,
last time.
you know, she's telling, she has her own little documentary series. So that's a good way to get you ramped up for it.
Yeah. It's like watching the 24/7 when there's a boxing match.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's some other noteworthy stories that we should cover though. So first of all, the gun dude, bro, the Turkish shooter, man. You must have seen this because it was everywhere, but the idea that this dude was just showing up, putting his hand in his pocket, and every single person there was wearing special glasses and had special shit. This dude was wearing jeans, had his hand in his pocket, and was shooting, and fucking got a silver medal.
I didn't watch any of that. I just have seen that picture of him. What's the target? Is it just like a gun range target?
I think so. Well, that's a good question though. It could be like a deer or a target. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know because I didn't watch.
Could be a person.
But dude, was that thing true about him that it was his ex-wife and the cat? Did you see that?
I didn't read into this sector that much.
I don't know. I can't find it, and I don't know if it was even real. But there was something about like he got divorced, and then because he needed to find something to do, he like took up shooting and became amazing at it, and like wants his cat back. His wife wants his cat back. And when they asked him like, "Do you have anything to say?" he just said to his ex-wife he wanted his cat back. It seemed fake, but like maybe some of it's real. But dude, like, there's nothing better than a person who's like anti-establishment, who comes into a sport where everybody takes it so seriously and does it a certain way, and you just like are a savant. You're just naturally gifted and able to just like. In tennis, that's a thing too. Like there'd be a guy at juniors who'd show up to the court wearing jean shorts and with one racket, and you're like, I'm gonna kill this kid, and then you get your ass whooped, and you're like, fuck, like you have your bag, you feel like an idiot. It's like fun to watch that.
It is fun to watch
That was a great
that.
story. Guys, when people ask me what is my favorite food, do you want to know what my answer is?
Yeah.
A variety.
Ooh.
You'd be lying to yourself if that wasn't your answer. That is the answer. Because if you eat the same thing over and over and over and over again, there's no way it's going to stay your favorite thing.
Yeah.
A variety of foods. And that is why HelloFresh is so wonderful.
Goodbye stale.
Goodbye stale.
HelloFresh.
That was good, Lynch.
You not get it?
I did. I didn't know where it was going, but that was
Goodbye
good.
stale. No,
HelloFresh.
we love HelloFresh. You can customize your box exactly how you want it delivered to your door, and it just makes everything so much easier.
I'll
We're busy.
customize your box, dude.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
That's inappropriate. So, but like we're busy. So like the fact that we can like check off having like healthy meals ready to go with pre-portioned ingredients, it just makes our lives a little bit better.
And dude, like it turns cooking into so much more of an efficient activity, to your point. Like having the pre-portioned ingredients to me is like the hugest thing. There's other very important talking points, but that is a clutch one, because if I were to go and have to buy a large amount of something and then whittle it down to the exact amount I needed for my recipe, like that adds a ton of time, not to mention the shopping part. So there's all of that, and just having it there ready to go, it allows you to be way more creative. Like I find myself making stuff I would never make, because once you know how to make a few things, it's hard to like broaden your horizons, because it just takes a little bit more time and a lot more energy to entertain doing a thing you've never done, because you might mess it up and the stakes feel high. You don't want to mess it up. You're tired. You had a long day. You want to make a good meal, and you know how to make this one thing, but you don't have to worry about that with HelloFresh. I've been cooking stuff I had no idea how to make, including simple stuff like rice. Or quinoa.
We all start somewhere.
Dude, suddenly I'm baking carrots in the oven and making sauces and doing all sorts of cool stuff. So HelloFresh is where it's at.
So for free breakfast for life, go to HelloFresh.com/free oops. One free breakfast item per box while subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life just by going to HelloFresh.com/free Oops. HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit.
I like too that there are certain skilled elements in the Olympics that don't require insane physical athleticism necessarily. I mean, I guess you could say having good vision or being able to like have fine motor skills is some form of athleticism, but like this guy's an older guy, bro. This guy has fully gray hair.
Yeah, it's interesting how like you can go from running, which is just like speed and like the most athletic thing possible, to just like, do you have a steady hand?
Yeah, exactly.
And like the range is just crazy. And then they added breakdancing this year.
Yeah, dude, that was insane. I want to talk about that in a second too. But the shooting, like in this HD World Olympics recap, they would tell the stories of some of these athletes, and a lot of them have like side jobs, dude. Not even side jobs. They have careers, and then they do this as a hobby. A lot of the sports, because, you know, I mean, I don't know about shooting specifically, but like certain things, there's just like no money in them. And it makes it so much more exciting in a way. It's like, this is all they have. When it's like LeBron James playing for the gold medal, I mean, he's a billionaire. He's the first billionaire to compete in the Olympics, you know, or even the tennis. It's like these big sports where people are already making money. It's still great and it's still exciting. But like, what about the guy who's a postman and he wakes up at 5 a.m. to shoot or whatever, do the biathlon or whatever event? So anyway.
Well, I was listening to the Morning Brew, and they mentioned how some countries pay out their athletes. Hong Kong pays $250,000 equivalent to whoever wins a gold medal.
Oh yeah, I've seen that too.
And other countries, they give you a restaurant.
Do all of them do it though?
It's all different, and no, but that they were saying how some do.
Right.
I think the U.S. they give you. I think you get somewhere around 30 grand. I think
for a gold medal,
if you get a gold medal, maybe it might be some at the most 30 grand per gold medal.
But still, even if you're making $200K for gold, like that's gonna last you 4 years. That's like a blue collar salary.
Yeah.
If that, you know, no, you're good. But yeah, dude, pretty interesting. The breakdancing, that poor Australian lady got fucking dragged.
How do you continue life?
She has a PhD, and they just in every way picked her apart. And bro, I mean, the routine was pretty goofy. I mean, the like kangaroo bouncing and like, I don't know shit about breakdancing, but like, I get why she was getting made fun of.
I wish she got punched in the face by what's her name?
Oh my God.
From
by Khalif.
From where?
What's her name? Khalif from Algeria.
Yeah.
There was also a Chinese or Taiwanese.
I'd love to see her get punched in the face by the Algerian boxer. She sucks, the dancer.
Dude.
If she was my aunt, I wouldn't tell anybody, dude.
Well, it's one of those things where I wonder, like, if her whole family has thought she was cringe this whole time. And they're like, what? She's going to the Olympics. They're like, okay, fine. She's fucking cringe. Trust me.
No, I bet.
Like your boy who like has a lot of followers, but his shit is terrible.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
No, I bet they're like, this is cringe. This is cringe. And then she's like, oh, yeah? Well, I'm going to the fucking Olympics. And then they're like, whoa, actually, maybe she's going to blow our mind.
Maybe she's onto something here. She's like,
and then
I'm going to show you, mate. Doink, 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 doink.
And then they're like, oh, yeah, that's why we don't like her.
Embarrassing. Embarrassing for sure, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, a couple more things. That Serbia-USA game was pretty entertaining. I watched the whole thing live. Really enjoyed it. I would have potentially this is going to sound like a hot take. Don't be annoyed at me if you're listening.
Don't say it.
I was rooting for Serbia to win.
Ew. I hate Jokic.
Why?
He's just big and he's just a bully and he's not fun to watch.
He's not a bully.
He's just this big fucking ugly guy that's just pushing his way around people. He gets the basketball and he just lifts it above everyone's head and he drops it in the basket. And I don't think that's fun.
Dude, that's not true, first of all. He's not tall enough for that to even be true. And he's such a dynamic player. Anyway, Jokic, criticism aside, that, if you think about the matchup, okay? Now, in the finals, I was rooting for the USA all the way. Fuck the French. Also, a lot of these guys in this squad are in the NBA, are this and that, blah, blah, blah. But this Serbia team was such an underdog team. And most of the guys on this team, and I get that they make money playing internationally, whatever, but they're playing a team of fucking rich dudes. And there are a bunch of guys, and maybe I'm not giving them enough credit. Maybe they're huge stars in Serbia and are super rich, and maybe I just don't know. So maybe it's not the David Goliath matchup that I think it is in my head. But there's something satisfying to me about the cocky U.S. team getting beaten basically by one guy. When Jokic isn't on the floor, they're not as effective. But how special it is for all the rest of the guys on the team. So I have no problem with the idea of a team upsetting a U.S. team if it's a scenario like that. Where, oh, boo-hoo, Steph never won a gold medal. Okay, Steph has $500 million. These guys, you know, who knows what these guys are doing. They don't have money. They're not rich like that. That's for sure. So, I don't know. So, in my head, I was like, if Serbia were to win, I wouldn't mind. But happy for the U.S. team that they won.
Got to root for the boys.
Nice for the legacy. But, dude, yeah, like, I don't like the idea of just automatically rooting for your country. I think it's like a bad way to be.
Okay.
I'll tell you why. In sports, maybe this is a hot take, and it's gonna, but like, hear me out. Like, what if you like the guys on the other team? Why does that mean you shouldn't root for them? We all are the same, bro. We all have the same genetic makeup. The country thing is a recent development. It's not as long lasting as us all being brothers and sisters, dude. Not to be a dick, but like, I think that you should take liberty to root for whoever you want. You know what I mean? I'm American. I love America. Great. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean that I automatically have to root for the American volleyball team to win if I like the guy on the other team.
That's fair. I'm going to root for America.
I fine. And like, I root for America a lot of the time too, but I don't just automatically root for America. I like an underdog story when in sports. And I've said this before, like, even when it comes to, you know, American leagues, like, I like rooting for the team from the city that's down and out because that city needs it more than New York or LA. You know what I mean? I like when Cleveland wins. I like when Buffalo wins. Like, so this is the same concept, but just on like a global scale. So if the U.S. were to lose to South Sudan, that is the greatest day in the history of South Sudan sports. Potentially, it's up there for sure. And for us, it's a drop in the bucket. It's a blip. There's 1,000 other stories. You know what I mean?
Didn't they lose to South Sudan
They
in one
won
of the
by
qualifying games?
They won by 1 point.
Okay, then they lost to Serbia in one of the qualifying games.
Oh, interesting.
Or one of the pre-Olympic
Right, like
games.
the like playing games that like
Yeah.
kind of like preseason.
It was preseason. It wasn't the pool.
Still,
But
yeah.
regardless, yeah.
Even if South Sudan had won that game, that would have been so sick, dude.
Yeah, that would have been, yeah, I get that.
That is my only argument there, where it's like, I like to root for the underdog sometimes, even if it means that I have to root against my country. It's a fucking game, dude.
Yeah.
It's a silly game, and it would be if it could change things for these people so much in some way, even just having this moment of glory, especially if it's a country that's a little on down and out like South Sudan, which we can say with confidence is the case.
Yeah.
Young country. I don't know, bro.
Yeah. I was excited for that Brazilian to win in gymnastics, first place. I forget which event it was, but Simone got silver, and then the one girl who ended up having to give back her medal got third place.
Why'd she?
I don't know what happened. There was some error with the scoring.
Oh, fuck.
Where she, at the very last minute, got third place. So she got bronze. It was very exciting. You capture her reaction live in the moment when she realizes. And then like a week ago, or not a week ago, like right around the closing ceremony, a week after it happened, they're like, actually, no. Give it back.
Oh, my God. That's brutal.
After a week.
That's brutal. You just got to let her keep it at that point.
I know.
And then still give it to the other person.
Yeah. Or just like, don't say anything. You fucked up. It's been 5 days.
Yeah.
Like, let it be.
All right. A couple more things here. So first of all, I was against at one point tennis being in the Olympics for professionals. And I guess just in general, because in 1988, I think they allowed professionals to start playing for the first time. If 86 or 88, I forget when the summer games were then. I think it was 86. Los Angeles, maybe.
That checks. That's the
Whatever.
4-year interval.
Anyway, so because, dude, like these are professional athletes. Like I was saying, they're rich. A lot of people choose not to play because they're like, oh, I need my points because the U.S. Open's coming up. Like winning a Grand Slam is potentially more important than winning a gold medal until you've won all the Grand Slams and then you really want the gold medal. That's sort of how it works.
It's a luxury.
Sort of. Yeah. So I think it's just sort of like flawed. I've always kind of thought that it was a little flawed, but this year proved me wrong and I take it back. The final match, the gold medal match for men's tennis is one of the best tennis matches I've ever seen in my life.
Who was in it?
It's Djokovic versus Alcaraz, which has turned into sort of like the really dope rivalry.
Haven't they played each other the last
bunch.
Wimbledons?
They played each other the last 2 Wimbledons. I think Alcaraz won both times. The French Open, Alcaraz did not play him because, or he maybe beat him in the semis. I forget. But they have this great rivalry. Djokovic beat him last year in Cincinnati. Really good match. They've had a good back and forth. And Alcaraz was a pretty heavy favorite going into this final. Djokovic had just had knee surgery like a month before. And it was a miracle he was even able to play. And they played at such a high level. And when Djokovic won, bro, his reaction, it was like the most incredible celebration I've ever seen him do. And then maybe I've ever seen at the end of a tennis match. And Alcaraz, his losing reaction too was so intense. Like it was so amazing. It was such a, if you get an opportunity to watch it, if you like tennis at all, or even if you know just a teeny bit about it, have enough context to be able to see how good they're playing, to be able to appreciate that, I recommend watching this. It was absolutely amazing. Top 5 match I've ever seen by, like, without a question. And really, really special. I'm grateful I got to see it live.
What was the emotion after winning?
He just like was like sobbing and shaking in a way that's like more so than normal.
Damn.
And this has sort of been the elusive gold medal. This guy's the greatest player of all time. He's won everything except the gold medal, and sort of like not tragically, but like had a ton of disappointment in the past. He got blown off the court by Del Potro 8 years ago. 4 years ago, he got upset when he was like the heavy favorite to win it all. And it's just like a lot of pressure, and it's only every 4 years. So this was his last chance. He was an underdog, and like he just stepped up his level. Both of them did, but the willpower was just unbelievable. And he put it out there too, which put so much more pressure on him. He's like, the one thing I'm missing is the gold medal. I want to win the gold medal, which usually people might not admit because it just puts a target on your back a bit more.
That's great that he has
It was sick,
that.
dude.
Yeah.
Really, really cool. Okay, and I have one last thing. If you have nothing to add to that, to the tennis, I see you thinking about it, which I appreciate. The last thing, I saw this woman lose in, I think it was judo.
Oh, I saw this.
Did you see this?
Yeah.
This was dark, dude. And this sort of shows you the dark underbelly of, I don't want to say the Olympics in general, but just of like this intense competition culture. And like, there are times when it can be a bad thing. And this woman was the favorite to win the gold. She won the gold 4 years ago. She hasn't lost a fight or a match or whatever in 5 years. And she got upset by some woman early in the tournament, and she just has a complete mental breakdown.
On TV.
Had to be carried off of the floor. And you felt for her, but it was like, okay, this is not healthy. Whatever's happening right here. This girl, she's won the gold already.
Yeah.
She had to be carried off by her coach as she was shrieking and like couldn't move. It was so sad. It made me so sad. I felt bad for her.
I saw that clip on Reddit's r/sad cringe.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
She makes the Australian breakdancer cool.
She makes the Australian breakdancer look like Simone Biles.
Yes.
But dude, I still think the breakdancer's more cringe. This poor girl, like she just like couldn't help it. This was her visceral reaction to losing. Like she could not help.
Isn't she on the older side?
Maybe, I don't know. She's won a gold already, so she's a vet in some capacity. And the heavy favorite to win the gold loses and just starts, she's like, ah, she's like shrieking. It's worth watching. I tried to show Hillary. She's like, I don't want to watch this. So there are certain people that might not be the right audience for it, but.
Yeah. It's bad.
Bad.
It was really bad. That was early. That was very early on in the Olympics too, I think.
That was early in the Olympics, yes.
Yeah. Well, I hope she figures out whatever she needs to figure out to not be like that anymore.
All right.
Find out another hobby or something.
Where are the Winter Olympics in 2 years?
The Winter Olympics.
Let's look that up real quick. The Winter Olympics are funny to me because you need a mountain. You can't do it in a flat place or a place that doesn't have mountains.
Milan,
all right. You need skiable mountains nearby, so it limits the amount of places, which is why a lot of the cities for Winter Olympics tend to be random as opposed to Summer Olympics. But it was sick. It was a flex that the French were able to do the surfing in French Polynesia. It's technically still France.
Yeah, I wasn't able to watch the surfing. It was gate kept.
Really?
Like through Peacock's premium bullshit.
Hate that.
Sorry.
Hate that.
So we got Milan in 2026, LA in 2028, French Alps in 2030,
Cool.
and then we got Brisbane,
Very nice.
2032, and then I think
Gold
2034
Coast.
is Salt Lake City,
That sounds right.
somewhere in Utah.
And they did Salt Lake City already not long ago.
Yeah,
And LA too, I guess.
yeah. Didn't they do Atlanta in 1996?
Yeah. They say it put Atlanta on the map.
I asked, I knew. I just wanted to make it
nice
seem
lunch.
like I was historically aware. Because that was the movie. What was the movie with the Paul Walter Hauser where he was accused? Richard Jewell. Great movie.
Great movie.
1996 Olympics.
Yes.
Atlanta.
He plays that character great.
Yeah,
Legend.
he's good.
So it's funny. We had a clip go kind of viral when Lynch was talking about how you can add people to the spam list as a revenge tactic, which has also always been sort of one of my favorite ones that I've always thought about. The
And it's just a joke. Just a joke. Totally joking.
Just
Totally
a
don't
joke.
actually do it.
We don't
so
actually do that.
can't be liable.
However, somebody happened to think it would be funny to add the oops email address to all that shit.
Yeah.
And now we've been getting signed up for everything and fucking.
It was like Children Cognitive Learning Center signups. I went back. I clicked unsubscribe to
Very
everything,
funny.
but now I feel like everyone's gonna catch on and they're gonna add us to
Very,
more. Do
very
your
funny.
worst.
Very
Do
funny,
your
bro.
worst.
Very, very funny.
If I do it, hypothetically, I know how to deal with it. Do your worst. You couldn't. You
Lynch,
couldn't.
don't do it, bro.
You
Don't
couldn't.
tempt them. They will come for you.
It's crazy how like hot and bothered everybody gets about something silly like that.
I know.
People like revenge.
Go do some homework, guys.
Yeah.
All right? Stop getting mad at us. We're not doing shit.
People like some pet. So, I guess in the comment section, tell us who, give us a suggestion for other phone numbers, hypothetically, to sign an enemy up for.
Yeah, and also let us know what you think about some of these controversies with the Olympics. I'm curious to see where people stand. If anybody has any like ringer home run points that are helpful and factual. Anyhow,
Factual
is helpful. Come see me on the road. I'm going to be at Hilarities in Cleveland, 4 shows the weekend of the 30th, which I think is Labor Day weekend. Hell yeah. So the 30th and the 31st, I'm going to be there. Danny Palmer's going to be showing up doing some guest spots. That should be fun. This is 30th to 31st of August. Then the 20th and 21st, I'm in St. Pete. I'm at Coastal Creative that Friday night, and the Saturday show usually is they pick the venue last second. But the tickets are both available on my website and in the link in my bio. Add your city in the link in my bio as well. Then I'm going to be in Columbus, Ohio on the 13th of October at the Funny Bone. I really want to sell well for that one, so if you guys could rally together to make that happen, I'd appreciate it. Then the last weekend of October in Seattle, 2 shows at the at Hereafter at the Crocodile, one of my favorite venues. And then I plan to do a deep dive into Olympic National Park, which is the only of the big 3 in that area that I have not visited. And I think it's the most challenging one to visit. You need to sort of plan it well because it's so big. So if you guys have any suggestions, it's so big. Let me know. Oopspodcast@gmail.com.
Send us anything. Sign us up for whatever.
No, do not sign us up for anything. Send us emails. I'm at NotJulio, at NotJulioG on Snap and TikTok. He is at Ryan is really polite on everything.
Check me out on there. Check on Instagram. I'll be posting some show updates by the time this comes out. So
Fuck yeah.
we appreciate you.
And buy some merch. And that's it. Love you. Bye.
I love you.